with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Okay. Director Thomas,
Here.
Director Ratterman,
Here.
Director Robertson,
Here.
President Davidson,
I'm here as well.
and Director Garamendi is absent today.
Public comment is the next item. At this time, members of the public may address the board in any non-agendized item. The public is encouraged to work through staff, place on items on the agenda for board consideration. No action be taken on matters not listed on the agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Is there any public comment today?
Francisco de la Cruz, Valley Springs. As you might have noticed, there's been a slight pause in the work of our CCWD advisory group work for obviously apparent reasons. One of our members has passed away as of July 7th. But nevertheless, he passed on some very important information to us that he would have been interested in following up on as well as I am. And that is the new reporting requirements, the Department of Water Resources on leaks. We understand you all have to report out your leaks in all kinds of gory detail, and we look forward to those numbers going down over time, especially as the A to B transmission line kicks in. The other one aspect that we were going to focus on this year and are going to continue to focus is non-revenue water. That seems to be a big deal everywhere, and it should be here as well for two reasons. One, we have a lot of leaks, and most of those leaks are water that we've treated, that we've pumped, that we use electricity and chemicals for, and it is now going into the ground with no revenue. So I look forward to working with you and seeing what we can do in terms of making this organization that much better for not just the employees, but the ratepayer. Thank you.
All right, is there any other public comment? Anybody online? No public comment. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. The following items are expected to be routine, non-controversial items will be acted upon by the board at one time without discussion. Any board member may request that an item be removed for later discussion. 3A, approval of minutes for a meeting on July 9th. 3B, report of monthly investment transactions for June 2025. And 3C, approving amendment to the cell tower lease between Calaveras County Water District and vertical bridge at the Sparrow tank site. Can I get a motion for acceptance? 3B. Okay, a motion for 3A, 3C. So moved. Have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, oppose. Motion carries. What do you want to know about 3B? This is not intended to be negotiated by any means.
I've been wanting to ask this question for some time, but we always start off this with the monthly activity. And then on the second page, we have the same exact presentation on the bottom of the second page. The monthly activity was restated there. Same numbers completely.
Yes, the
Okay.
report, the attached report goes into detail.
Mhm.
We put together a staff report that's basically a summary of the actions. So if somebody just wants to read the staff report, they can get the gist of the entire one.
Well, this is just a question for my education here. Couldn't we start this off with putting that monthly activity up on top? Make the second page the first page so that you could see the activity, and then you know what I think is, for me, is beneficial on this on the second page. You have market value that totals all of these. You cross-put all these elements that are down below. I always look at that and make sure that they make sure that they total up, but you've already got them total. So I'm just, is there anything wrong with just eliminating this? You've already got it here, just put it on one page.
just, I'm sorry, I kind of lost you as far as page 2. So what your recommendation?
I would like for page 2 to become page 1.
The
And
report page?
I'm just,
You're talking about this page?
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
but to me, it's just a little unnecessarily redundant to have this presentation followed by the same presentation on the second page or something. Okay. Did that,
That we can do, we can take that table out completely, but you still need a staff report to go along with it.
Well, of course,
That's kind of how I'm
yeah,
used to putting, yeah.
yeah,
We'll
but
take the table out of the staff report and just do the text and then put the tables behind it.
maybe I ought to come in and talk to you about this later, but, as long as we can, if I'm asking for something that is unreasonable or necessary, then just tell me. So I'd like to just cut to the chase here and have this particular set of figures is already presented here. Don't show them to me twice.
That's what I'm saying. I
Okay.
can take that table off the staff report.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then have these 2 items as the attachment.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right. With that clarification, I would to approve 3B.
There a second?
I actually have a follow-up
Go
question.
ahead.
So this, just to be clear, this is an appropriate time to ask questions about the cell phone tower lease?
No.
Yeah.
Later,
We
okay,
only-
got it. I'll save
Yeah.
that for later.
I'll second the motion that Russ made on item.
Okay, we motion a second. Is there any other questions regarding that? Public comment? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, if you want to pull it, you can just pull it before we vote on it. We will have a discussion about it after we vote on it. It's a big deal. That makes sense.
But he had pulled it.
He pulled 3B.
Oh, I thought he was, oh, for some reason, never mind. Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's not much.
Okay, so we'll move on to 4A, discussion regarding summer work program. Stacy?
Good afternoon, once again. So today I'm here to talk to you about our summer work program that just recently ended. We had the opportunity to provide local students the ability to learn and gain experience in the water and wastewater industry. We began this program due to honoring our former employee, Dylan Cuneo, who launched his career at CCWD through a similar work program. Okay. So we had a total of 28 students from all high schools apply to this opportunity. They all went through a 3-panel interview process. At the end of the interview, all of our panel interviewers were extremely impressed by the students that applied and their desire to work for CCWD for various reasons. We ended up offering the position, we ended up offering 4 students a summer work program. They were all offered and accepted by the 4 students. 2 of them worked out in the field with our field staff, and 2 of them worked in the office as well with some field experience. In the office, 2 assistants assisted in the customer service department with spearheading some scanning efforts that have been much needed. Also helped the IT department with maintenance and setup of equipment. And our Water Resources Department with gathering information for population data for the Department of Water Resources reporting needs. In the field, we had 2 students clean up various work areas at treatment plants. They were trained on and performed daily plant reads and checks for the various treatment plants, and assisted with a hydrant replacement, and attended a silica training class along with our other employees. The program was well received by all those students and employees. Again, we were very impressed. We have considered this program and a success and hope to offer it in the coming years. One of the students graduated this past school year and is actively looking at our website to see if he has the opportunity to become our next trainee or treatment plant operator. And is, as far as we know, is moving forward to obtaining certifications. So we've been able to help him with that. So it's exactly what we was hoping, was to grow our youth and get some excited employees in here. Some funny little time card entries that we had from our in-office staff. A lot of crunching of numbers that he calls, crunching, sorry, scanning of work documents for the customer service, learning how to cash checks. Our one employee, Eli, considered his little work area his battle station. So just some fun little time card entries there to read. So to wrap up the success of this program, I do want to read to you the parting email that Eli, one of the students who worked here in the office, read or sent to all staff, which we think really sums up the success of the program. You can see it there, but I will also read it. Good afternoon. Today was my last day here at CCWD, and I just wanted to thank the district for doing this summer work program this year and choosing me to be one of the lucky participants. Specifically, I want to thank Stacy and Kate for facilitating this program and for being our point of contact, as well as introducing us to the workplace. I want to thank Dylan and Josh, the IT guys, for allowing me to hang around them and attempt to absorb some of their IT expertise, as well as actively taking me along with them to projects, giving me opportunities to help. I really enjoyed my time with them. I want to thank Kelly and the rest of the customer service department for giving us the scanning project and supporting us in our progress. I hope that minuscule dent we made to the files to be scanned was at least somewhat helpful. I want to thank Vanna and Andrew for the data entry project and the support they provided in the assignment. I really enjoyed my little foray into the world of data engineering, and I hope that the progress I made in that project will save them time in the future. I want to thank Haley for the multiple organization and scanning projects that she provided for us to complete, and of course, giving us the instruction and guidance we need. It was great to see the visible impact some of our work had in the office, allowing the room adjacent to our cubicle to be empty. I want to thank Juan for taking us out on several adventures and including us in some of his engineering work in the office. We had a lot of fun with it. I also wanted to thank Cameron for being a great cubicle mate and for putting up with me in such close proximity, which was undoubtedly no easy task. I wish her luck in her future ventures. There are many more CCW employees that I had wonderful interactions with and who helped me gain valuable experience in the water and wastewater industry, as well as business in general. I will not attempt to list them all, but I am grateful to everyone for this wonderful experience. I really enjoyed my time at CCWD. Thank you again.
Very nice.
Any questions?
Any questions, board?
Sorry.
No.
No, thank you for the update. I certainly will be supportive of this program going forward. Sounds, sounds like it worked awesome.
Thank you.
I think, that's just cool.
Go ahead, Francisco.
Thank you. Do we have a total cost invested for the four students? Just in a general sense for the average wage they earned during the, and what was the tenure? Was it 90-day, 60-day? The reason I ask is this.
You thinking of applying?
Pardon?
You thinking of applying next time?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I kind of, no, seriously, some of you maybe none of you do, but I'm a graduate of the University of Pacific School of Engineering. And they had a cooperative education program where they had internships that lasted a full academic semester. And that ended up creating career paths very quickly for those of us that participated, because you couldn't go on a co-op unless you're at minimum a junior. And you had to do it for a full year before you could graduate. So you were within a year of graduation to start the job market. And I'm wondering if there's a possibility to look at your recruitment strategy for future entry-level jobs and consider a co-op program that has a little bit more administrative need for it. You have to plan it. You don't bring somebody in to do no good stuff that you can hire local, but to try to get ahead of the curve, because one of the studies I recently read from Microsoft, I believe they looked at the potential jobs that are going to be taken over by AI. And they listed the top 40 jobs that are going to be gone within the next 2 to 5 years as a result of AI. And they also listed the jobs that are not likely to be affected by AI because of what the requirements of the job are. Guess what? Water treatment, sewer operators are not AI takeover targets. So you're going to need folks like that. So that opportunity is going to continue. Now, there's going to be, for example, your customer service could be taken over by AI like that, whereas your engineering, the operation, et cetera. And I would encourage you to look at the value of an internship program long-term versus the fact that you're going to cycle through 4 students every year. Perhaps the same them, most likely not. But it's money that, it's nice, but it doesn't pay back benefits down the road. Thank
So
you.
is there an answer to this first question?
It was a 6-week program. The students were provided $20 an hour. Most of them did not work the full 6 weeks. It was probably an average of 5 weeks between previous times off and things like that. I don't have the exact number. There was no benefits applied, so it was straight $20 an hour. In response to Francisco's second comment, I am actually working with UPUD, Kelly Meyer, and Motherload Job Training, and we are working through a grant in combination with California Rural Water on a 2-year apprenticeship program and a 75% reimbursement towards employee pay. We're working through that process right now. We don't know what it's going to look like in the future, but we are working with them on a possible grant opportunity for that. And hopefully we'll have some more information in the next few months that we can pursue.
And I'll just add really quickly that I think the apprenticeship program has a ton of potential, and I think it's great the work Stacy and Kelly are doing on that. We have looked at kind of a larger internship program, whether engineering or water resources specific type positions in particular. The employment laws around internships they made it a lot more difficult to actually do internships than they used to be. And we're a relatively small shop, so it's hard for us I think that is generally more, you see that more in larger agencies where they have the capacity to provide a better training environment. It's something we have explored and we'll continue to kind of look at. I'm not sure it's the best fit for us, but it can be a really good pathway. We tend not to hire, right out of school if we don't have to, because like I said, we're not the best training ground. We need people that already have experience or bringing experience to us from other agencies in general. But we're looking at ways, like, think this is a really great program at a very low cost to provide exposure to local students that, and we've seen this be successful in the past. So the return on investment here can be really great. And it's just provides a great opportunity for local students.
Now, there's really kind of two levels here. There's this level, which are high school kids that we're trying to motivate and get some use out of. And then I support what you're talking about. Francisco, my son went through an internship with Hensel Phelps in Oahu for a summer. And all those kids from Sac State, literally every kid that he knew got hired by company like Turner. But once again, they're much bigger, construction companies. But, I've mentioned before about, thinking about bringing, an engineering intern in. And obviously there's some challenges that we have to work through, but I think it's a valuable thing for us to take a look at,
I'd like to kind of second that, but also add, I remember in your prior presentation, one of the motivators for doing the summer work hire was to really get a sense of people and from whom we could later possibly hire. I like the apprenticeship idea a lot especially when you've identified someone who wants to remain local and has potential. So thank you.
All right, anybody else? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you, Stacy.
Thanks, Stacy.
Okay, now we'll move on to 4B, discussion action approving La Contenta master plan update.
Good afternoon, directors. So this presentation, we kind of went over at the class engineering committee, and they recommend that we bring it to the full board. So it's the La Contenta wastewater master plan update. So kind of the purpose of the purpose of the plan update was the last master plan was adopted in 2018, but a lot has changed since then. We have new planning documents from the county, including the new general plan. There's new regulations, and the project costs for the infrastructure that we have to build in La Contenta has gone up substantially since the previous master plan. Kind of update the roadmap and guide future wastewater improvements. We kind of sequenced the work effort at La Contenta a little bit different than the previous master plan based on the design that we're working on right now. So today we're asking for the board to approve the updated plan for La Contenta. So what the plan covers, it covers updated flow projections, the current and future facility needs, storage and disposal capacity for the treated wastewater, and possible coordination with our neighboring agency, Valley Springs Public Utilities District, and then kind of a foundation for future funding, and also to adjust the capacity fees for La Contenta to pay for this work. So the updated flow projections and new data, we looked at the previous 6 years, and we're adjusting the gallons per day per household and dry weather flow to 150 gallons per day. This is more accurate than our previous estimates that we've used in the past, like 195 gallons or 160 gallons. This helps us size the pipelines, the pumps, and treatment plant capacity more accurately to what we're seeing in the service area. So the current project that we're working on right now and design, we call phase 3. The initial phase 1 was an initial construction of the treatment plant. Phase 2 was the previous improvements, like the new UV channel that we put there years ago. And then we're calling this phase 3. So the phase 3, it's a new biolac aeration basin with new clarifiers, new blower system, electrical building, and a new pipeline, larger pipeline from the upper pond down to the lower storage pond. So then the long-term build-out needs that are identified in the update the master plan. As the service area grows, we'll need to do something about the headworks where the sewage first comes to the treatment plant. Clarifier upgrades to the existing clarifier, more filters, and increased UV capacity, and possibly more storage disposal options to handle those wet years. So the full build out based on the new general plan that went down a little bit to 2,250 homes in the La Contenta area. So storage and disposal analysis. So do we have enough room for this treated storage, treated water? We do for phase 3, which is the immediate project. At full build out, maybe not. In rainy years, we might need to increase storage capacity or figure out how to get rid of the water a different way. We land application and discharge permit into a waterway. There's all kinds of options to get rid of the treated wastewater. So we've been talking with Valley Springs Public Utilities District, and I think we're going to go visit them at their next board meeting. But there's a region, we can do a regional treatment plant. Their treatment plant is not like a mile away from our service area in Valley Springs. So there's an opportunity to take their treated or take their sewage and pump it to our La Contenta treatment plant. This could help both agencies and also make us eligible for, there's a lot of grant opportunities for regionalization projects. And they're also a disadvantaged community, which would check, I think it checks like 4 out of the 5 boxes on, the Clean Water State Revolving Fund grant opportunities. So working with them could bring in some.
They're currently secondary treated, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, so we could take their flows and either send them to Huckleberry or pump them to the treatment plant.
And then the thought would be to send it back so they can spray.
No, we would just, we would need to,
No, we would treat
under grant opportunity, we could figure out how to get rid of it.
Well, if we're gonna build a pipeline to the treatment plant, we might as well build one back to their hillside, wouldn't we?
but we treat it to a tertiary level. There would be no reason to send it back to be sprayed.
Yeah, we have a limitation on our spray area. There's, that's always been a limiting factor at La Contenta. They've always said we needed 240 more acres of sprayable area.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something we can look at, is taking it to their spray field. Yeah, that's.
But didn't we
If
just,
there's a pipeline, you put another pipe in the ground at the same time.
didn't we just purchase property adjacent to our wastewater facility to do exactly that? Or for storage?
Yeah, that could be additional spray field area. In the wet season, though, we're talking about wintertime storage. So in the wet season, you can't irrigate or it'll run right back into the pond. So there's some limitations on what we can do there. But yeah, that's definitely an option. I mean, we could get rid of a percentage of it in these spray field areas.
They've got, roughly 350 current customers.
Yeah,
Not a lot of growth potential inside the boundary that I'm aware of. There's a few projects, but less.
yeah, there's a few projects. I mean, yeah, so it's, we looked at like analyzing, we took every property and, what it's zoned for and how many houses we built there, and then we.
In their area as well? Or we have.
We haven't really dug into their area too much. They have some growth areas that they can't serve potentially because they're basically over capacity already.
They
So, yeah, they are. So, yeah, if we brought them in on board, we would do the full project, everything with the grant.
But we would not take over their infrastructure.
I don't think we'd want to.
We would just do a wholesale treatment deal with them.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's what we discussed with them. And then,
And if we did that, we looked at this before. We looked at this 5-6 years ago, and our engineer at the time, wastewater engineer, he just retired. I can't remember.
Bob,
Bob Godwin, met with Weber Geo, put together a half-inch report. I provided it to Michael. You might have seen a copy of it. It's not that old, but it came to the conclusion, and this was after asking them. They're in my district, obviously, and I went to several of their meetings to get some information about this. Just at that time, they were planning on building another sewer plant out on where I think we're current.
That was
Paloma,
Yeah.
pumping with several, pump stations, pumping it uphill for 2 or 3 miles or further out of town, having a third sewer plant in the little town of Valley Springs. It didn't make any sense. So we looked at it, and the outcome in that report, comes to the conclusion that it'd be more expensive to do a wholesale agreement with them and the main reason was, that it was that we were treating it to a tertiary level and they only needed to, with their permits only needed to go to a secondary level, and it was going to cost more to do that. The idea was abandoned. What has changed since then?
They didn't end up building the treatment plant that they planned on building. I don't know the reason for it, but
Yeah,
They were eligible for grant funds that they were not able to get. And so that project didn't move forward. And so I think it's just a different set of circumstances for them now. And we're still early in exploring this with them again. So we're not 100% sure if it is indeed the most cost-effective option for both agencies, but I think it's worth it.
This is awesome. I mean, I am
Yeah.
fully supportive of doing this and working with our neighbors. That is great to hear. So happy to see that this was on here and we're looking at it.
I have a question in reading through this. It sounds like we had several wet years or a particularly wet year. What happens if that happens with this plan?
yeah, so I have Bill from Hydro Science is also line. Maybe he's our design engineer for our new treatment plant and also from Hydro Science to put together this master plan update. But yeah, so on a really wet year, we're upgrading Huckleberry lift station, which is our main lift station. We're 90% designed for that lift station. Also, that one, that's where all the flow currently comes there, and that pumps to Lock Contenta. So the way we have an upper storage pond that right now is non-compliant wastewater. It's been through the treatment process, gone through the UV, but maybe there was something like the turbidity was too high or that type of stuff. And so we have a non-compliant pond that's up by the treatment plant, and that has to be retreated before we send it down to the lower pond. But the idea of this new project is that we'll have additional storage because we'll be able to put compliant wastewater in the upper storage pond. So right now on the wet years, we have our existing biolac has this like a curtain in between the clarifier and the aeration basin. So on wet years, it just all the solids flow through the treatment plant process and we can't control it. So it's not only a capacity increase, there's fundamental problems with their treatment plant that we have there now. So this will build another biolac on the other side. It's a third or half again bigger. And then eventually at full build out, the existing biolac will have to be outfitted with a new wall between there and probably some rehab, because the thing's been running continuously since it was built in the early 90s. So it's due for full rehabilitation and improvements to be made to that.
It sounds like some really good improvements, but there's actually no financial commitment for CCWD at this point. This is just approving the plan. Right?
Yes, yeah, we paid Hydro Science to do the plan, and we're in design for the Lock Contenta wastewater treatment plant. So we're at 90% design. So in the next couple of months, we'll have the final design, bid ready documents to go out to bid.
but we don't have the money to
But
build
we
it.
don't have the money to build it. So we're looking at right now HDR, their proposals in here too. They're working on a capacity piece study. So we expect in the next couple of months, we'll bring that back to the board, and that'll potentially increase the capacity piece to make sure that everybody pays their fair share for the improvements. So these improvements don't all go on the backs of existing customers. The capacity increases will go with the new development.
And we have to be able to justify that math. We have to say what's an existing deficiency and how does that get paid for? And then what is future capacity? And we have to be able to explain that.
Yeah, so the master plan update here in your packet has the percentages that we believe is to be rehab versus new connections will be.
So is it a $36 million? Is that the number?
Yeah, it's I think
That's combined?
$21 million, but yeah, that's 36 with everything in there. But the right now the project we're looking at, there's been it's right around $10 million for the biolac, maybe 11 million. And so that's where we're at with that. And then Huckleberry's $6 million. So we got a lot of 6 to 8 million. So And then there's escalations built into this package too, because we don't expect to be built here in the next 3 years, so.
Well, and some of this stuff will have to be fronted by some of the existing, of the closer to fruition developments.
Yes,
They will have to finance some of this.
yeah, we divided by phase 3, which is the existing agreements we have, facilities agreements we have with developers. So the stuff we have now would cover phase 3, we cover the existing facilities agreements. And then anything beyond that, we'd have to go to full build out, like bring Valley Springs on board, they would have to go to full build out sooner.
Okay.
Kevin, you mentioned the HDR component here. If we make a motion and approve this, the updated La Contenta master plan is the HDR.
They're already under contracts.
Yeah.
The dollar amount was under the board to not to the contract, but so yeah, they've been working on that. But the idea today was just to approve the master plan.
Okay.
I have a question about, the development projections. We've only got 177 potential development sites, residential. We got 1,110 existing sewer services. That's nowhere near, I mean, residential parcels, I guess another question I have, you got 170, it's 177 acres, 443 ESFUs. I have a hard time believing that's all.
That's just the-
Almost all that 8604 property is zoned single family residence or commercial.
Yeah, we can give you the breakdown, but that's Gold Creek, the LGI, the elementary school, and the vacant lots within the subdivision.
But it doesn't seem like it includes anything across the highway. It doesn't, does it include the new Chevron or whatever, the one
No.
across from Chevron?
No,
Why wouldn't it? I mean, that guy paid into the assessment district. I mean, he bought, millions of dollars and paid it millions of dollars worth of assessments. I mean,
I don't
they're
know
planning,
to that.
they're planning a huge development there. I mean,
Yeah, that would be, so we got a concept review application from them, so I mean, we don't reserve capacity for people until they pay for it, so whoever gets
no,
first.
I get that, but I mean, when I look at the land use map from the county, I feel like we should be trying to design a system that will accommodate growth throughout the whole thing. And certainly I understand phasing because we can't afford, it's 100 million, whatever, who knows what it is. But I mean, I look at that as our responsibility. And we've actually got, a concept review and we're not including it in this.
We just got that like in the last month. So we got the full build out in phase 3. So the phase 3, the Biolac, all the infrastructure we're building now, the pipeline down to the lower pond, the Biolac, that'll all handle, when you bring both Biolacs online, that'll all handle the flows at full build out. So we're not building anything that has to be rebuilt later. Yes, you might have to go rehab the existing one and make improvements to that one, but we're sizing all the infrastructure, all the pipes, so that we can handle full build out, so we don't have to come back and do this again. But we're not designing the UV channel that doesn't have to come until after this phase 3 is fully built out. And maybe it's a little bit past phase 3, maybe it's at the final build out, we need this UV, so
Listen, I can appreciate that, but I think these development numbers are lower than the master plan from the 90s.
they are lower from the master plan. The general plan they're less dense. I mean, they changed it. So we went through every parcel and identified the density of the parcels and how many connections would be there within our existing service area. That's not to say that,
Do me a favor and give me a map that shows every parcel and then what you consider with the zoning to be the potential development.
yeah, no problem.
Because I know that there's hundreds of acres that are zoned single family between the gym and Gold Creek on the north side of the highway. So I'm just curious. I mean, we should at least be recognizing that.
I think we are. I think this is based on that, the potential growth under the general plan.
All right, I'm I'm here today to challenge that. I don't think,
Yeah,
I don't think it's enough.
It's within our service area, so their service area expands beyond, all the way out to wherever.
Well, we are expanding our service area. We're expanding our service area off Vista del Lago, across the street from La Contenta.
Yeah,
That's never been our service area.
but yeah, that's included here though. Then we know about that.
Well, what I'm trying to say is the people who paid for that treatment plant years ago, whether it's, it's paid for and all done now, they're gonna want to, one day, their heirs are gonna want to get connected. They're expecting that. They have the proper zoning to apply for a development if it ever happens again. But I just want us to at least have it written down that we're planning that far into the future. So I'll quit with that, but
Okay.
Well, the one other thing along with this, in the same subject is infill with ADUs. I mean, how can you possibly plan for if everyone that can build an ADU on their property, especially larger in the same area we're talking about, and that both the state and county are pushing for infill growth. In their plan, and I don't know how you plan. I don't know. I'm not asking you that question, Kevin, because but we've been talking about ADUs. It's going to be on our. We do have a policy. We're about updating it.
Yeah.
But if every one of our customers in each one of our area, each one of the area decided to do that, we'd have to create some growth like real quick. But anyway,
Yeah, there's a lot of issues with that.
it's ifs, ands, and buts, and I'm not trying to get into every single one of them.
Yeah, I mean, we've been working on that policy and I didn't realize how substantial the changes are. I mean, people can build ADU over 750 square feet without asking us anything.
We haven't seen significant adoption of that in the county, but in that scenario, if everyone were to do it, yeah, we'd have a problem.
Yeah, no, and there are communities in California that is, it's a huge problem right now.
I think
What do you do with water and wastewater when that starts happening to you at the district or agency?
I think it'd be foolish to develop a subdivision now where you didn't just start doing that as an option, I mean,
Yeah, so if you do build the house originally with ADU, they can't charge the capacity on that, I believe. So it's something that has to be added.
oh, so
We're
we'll bring
bringing
on
that-
new
We'll
development.
bring that policy to the engineering committee first, but there's some restrictions on building the ADU with the original house and not being charged additional capacity.
No, there's two different kinds. One's within the framework and
Yeah.
of the original, but still more people in a different unit in the same building. And then the other one is if you have the area to bring in small houses or just another house in the backyard. It's
Yeah, and there's trade-offs there, because more density is also good for us in some ways, but if it creates a lot of additional demand without additional capacity fees, then there's also a problem there. So,
Okay, so what we're being asked to approve today is not the financing of this.
And we're not approving finance, just the kind of roadmap, giving us direction with the
This
master.
is the
plan.
direction to figure out what the final plan will be, and then we'll be given an estimate, and then eventually we'll be given a new connection fee, new capacity fee.
Yeah, so the idea is that by the end of the year, we'll have the new capacity fees ready for the engineering committee, and then we'll review those. Maybe the finance committee, I don't know. And then we can bring it to the full board, and we'll have HDR here for that presentation. It kind of gives an overview on we have to use a consultant for that because it's very specialized, it's gotta be legally defensible. So
well, I'd like to make a motion for the acceptance of this law container master plan update.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment? Anything else from the board first? Any public comment? Go ahead, Michael.
Thank you, Kevin. Mike Rogers, Valley Springs. I live in La Contenta. My sewer fee is a significant percentage of the check that I send you guys every couple of months. And what I want to understand
better, and I think you referred to it in the master plan document, that development fees and expansion fees would cover the expansion of the facility to accommodate future growth. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, there's a percentage of the project that's for expansion that will be covered by new developers. The existing customers are responsible for the upkeep of the facility, rehabilitation, existing capacity.
So is phase three, all of these bullets, for example, in phase three, is that to be funded by existing ratepayers?
There's a breakdown in
There is a breakdown in
here
the
about the percentage that we're tentatively looking at. It could change a little bit. But there's a breakdown here, essentially.
Once approved, this document will be posted online. And it's that.
Yeah, we have on our website, we have all the master plans, so it'll be,
Yeah,
that's next one.
posted a couple of weeks. Maybe.
Probably soon enough.
Okay. Well, I have
It's on there now as a part of the board.
Is it? Okay, I have more homework to do for sure, because it's pretty detailed. You know, but I am concerned about what falls to existing ratepayers.
So right here, 5.5, so we got upgraded stations, basically for different basic improvements, still the area, expansion.
Okay, and then lastly, on, did I see it? Looked like there was a typo in the, I think it said next B months, and I think we meant to say next 3 months. Is that
Or few,
few months? Is that what it is?
E and W, I'm pretty sure I saw that.
Okay. Great, thank you very much.
All right, is there any other public comment? Anybody on?
We had Bill, I don't know if he wants to say anything, he's our design engineer from Hydro Silence, but
You
we
want
do
to
a lot of our projects, so.
chime in, Bill?
I think Kevin covered it pretty well, but happy to answer any questions.
Does the board have any more questions?
Like, thank you.
Okay, we have motion in a second. Please call the roll.
Director Thomas,
Yes.
Director Ratterman,
Yes,
Director Robertson.
Yes.
President Davidson.
No. Only because I'm not confident in the future growth, but I'm glad we're going down this road. But I want to see that stuff. Okay, we'll move on now to discussion action regarding the annual resolution, place delinquent charges on the county tax rolls.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. This is an annual resolution, as the President Davidson mentioned there. Every year, we look to place delinquent accounts, water and or sewer accounts on the tax rolls. The district is part of the TEETR program. And as such, when we request the County Board of Supervisors to place our delinquent water and sewer fees onto their TEETR plan, they guarantee payment to the district. They take on the liability. There is a cost associated with that, and it's 2% of the outstanding amount of fees that are being placed on the tax rolls. So in this particular case, what we're looking at is just under 800,000. There'll be $16,000 charged to the district for this process. However,
and that goes to the county, right?
it goes to the county. However, it is also a very cost-efficient way for us to gain our revenues. Just because it's better than trying to send off to a collection agency or such, because the returns are not that great.
But correct me if I'm wrong, did they also get late fees if there's any, or can they, if there's not, if they haven't accrued any late fees when we pass this on to them, can they collect late fees after that?
That I do not know. I'm not
Okay.
sure the
So
mechanism
the only,
within the county.
the only money that they're getting is the 2%.
No,
Or
they
if you-
charge interest.
But they do.
But, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And they would have no problem reimbursing $791,000 to CCWD. That just seems like a big chunk of change.
Well, it goes on the tax roll. So there's two distributions generally, the one in December and one in April. So what happens is that the county places these bills on the tax roll. If the person pays them, then it's just a pass through from the property owner to the district. If the person does not pay it, then the county goes into the collection agency mode. And that's where they get to charge interest.
All right, but I thought I had heard from an earlier presentation, that they actually pay us and then they collect them.
No, we don't get money up front. We get it as part of the distribution when the property tax revenues come in.
And then a second question is, what's the, when we have water, we do the direct water with renters, correct?
No, we always, the
Only to
property
the
owner
owners.
is
Okay,
the official
got it.
customer.
They got to collect it from there.
So if they're, yes, so even if they're renting and they're not paid, it goes to the tax bill of the property.
Understood.
This is a great program, and it is benefits us hugely. If we were attempting to collect using a collection agency or a contract this out for collections and go to anybody else, it would cost us way more than 2%.
Yeah.
And the chances of recovery would be much slimmer than this is a guarantee. We don't get it up front. We don't get it right away, but we do get it in the regular disbursements or all property tax. All the rest of the property tax money comes to us.
Yeah, we get those in January and in May. Now, I do want to point out one thing though, and this is a concerning trend that we have. And Kelly Richards and I have been talking about this. The total number of delinquent accounts that are being placed on the tax rolls increased by 191 to 556 this year. And the total dollar amount, which was $516,000 last year, is now $791,000. So that trend is going upwards. These numbers, and I just want to caution you, the final numbers that we have in front of you, on this particular attachment, will probably change because we must submit our list to the county no later than August 10th. And we are still working with customers. If they come in and they contact us, they can still pay their bill and keep it off the tax roll. So this number can go down, and historically it has gone down from the numbers that we present to the board.
Between our meeting here today and the 10th, this document will change. Will some be added to it? Can some be
No.
added?
We will not be adding to it. We will be subtracting from it,
Gotcha.
from those who pay.
And then the ones that do come up that we know about, then starting on this date is when we start next year's list.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, just a footnote, an account is delinquent based on the billing cycle. For cycle 1, which is up the hill, any account that is more than 60 days delinquent as of January 31st gets placed on the initial list. For cycle 2, it's as of February 21st if you're 60 days delinquent. Then in May, we send out notifications to all the customers to let them know that they are delinquent and they can pay this, or otherwise it can be placed on the tax rolls.
And
So there's outreach starting in May.
that goes out to both cycles in May?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
Do we send out any kind of notice that if you don't pay by August 10th, that we will be submitting them as to the county?
yes, and that is in the May letter
Okay,
that goes out, telling them that A, they're delinquent, B, they can pay it off, or if they do not pay, it goes on to the county tax roll.
okay.
And again, this is only people who own the homes.
Or a business.
Or a business, that is correct.
And we are, Jeff said, concerned about that increase. We're started sending out reminder notices. We've re-implemented a late charge. It's a relatively small late charge, but it tends to prompt people to pay attention, take it seriously. And then we'll continue discussing other ways for us to reduce delinquencies, because even though the teeter program is a very cost-effective way to collect for the district, we would much rather not have a delinquency level that's this high. So we're working on that as well.
So those late fees that we've recently implemented or re-implemented, that is something that when we send it to when we send those to the county, they get that money as well. They're only gonna pay us for the,
I think we only send the balances.
We said the entire balance of,
with the late fees included in them,
yes, sir.
and the county pays us for those as well.
They they pay us for what we submit to them.
Okay,
And those,
thank you.
Okay, is there, need a motion?
Well, I need to ask Jeff some more questions. Jeff, just help me understand this. On the first page that lists all these delinquencies, looking down about third of the way on the first page, there's an account that is overdue $10,839. We don't know who is responsible for that particular account, but if that, is there any possibility, or what is a possibility that that specific account got wiped clean? It started this year with a zero balance. I mean, could I conclude that they haven't paid their bill for a whole year? Is that?
I don't have the particulars about how much they use, if it's water, sewer, if it's
That's a
business.
commercial account. It could easily be that.
Yeah, it could very well be. And
Well, we've heard from past reports, there are several of our customers who don't pay their sewer bill all year long, knowing it's gonna go on here and they just pay it when they get the property tax bill. And they don't
There
make,
are people that we encourage them not to, but
Um,
I'll make a motion for acceptance.
You have more questions?
Yeah,
We can have a motion and a second and then discussion. It doesn't have to. Normally, you should have a motion and a second before we discuss it. Because if we don't have motion second, we don't have anything to
I'll
discuss.
second.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I was going to build an argument for not even approving.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
Continue.
or give me a heart attack.
We haven't voted yet.
I know. But this is a very problematic thing. I mean, it's a gross understatement, but when are we going to go back to the old days where we not only threatened fees, but put the lockbox on?
That is something that's an option. However, we're looking at this incrementally, in that the first thing that we talked about was to go with the late notices, the reminder notices. We haven't done that for a number of years. In fact, we're the only district in our general area that hadn't been doing it. And that kind of prompts people. If you don't pay your PG&E bill, there's a late fee. If you don't pay other bills, there's generally a late fee to go along with it. We're hoping that effort, this exercise, reduces this number. Now, if it continues to not improve to a point where we feel comfortable with it, or can worry about, or not worrying about the lost revenue, then we have to look at other options. And we do have a lockout policy on our books. It's not changed.
But we weren't allowed to use it for a while.
we weren't allowed to use it, and then we never, we'd been, checking in with the board on this from time to time, but we never re-implemented lockoffs after the moratorium was lifted.
Yeah.
And we haven't, since then. So it's been since before COVID that we've done lockoffs, and it's a significant staff effort to do it. It's a significant, inconvenience and disruption to the customers. So, it's not necessarily, we're trying to explore all other options before we go back to re-implementing lockoffs, which the state may do away with eventually anyways. But to Jeff's point, this is a higher delinquency rate than we'd like to carry. So we'll be checking in with the board on how this proceeds and then what the next steps are that we take.
And may I add one more thing? The other part of all this too is, in addition to not receiving $791,000 in revenue at this point, it's also a cash flow issue. Because when we get paid, we get our billings, you get cash throughout the year. Having that much money then parsed out to almost a year later makes it difficult. And that's the other thing that we're looking at. And that's why, as Michael alluded to, we're looking at this rollout of reminder notices and late fees, hoping to get people back into the mode of, I need to pay my bill. Because we haven't had anything to I don't want to say force them, but yeah, force them to pay their bill. And there's been nothing out there up until this point for the last 5 years due to COVID and other
Incentivize.
restrictions.
Well, let me ask another question. I can sympathize, with the bad press or with the heartache that it would cause for people that have their water shut off. But are there flow restrictors? I mean, if we restricted the flow, that made it really tough for them to take a shower, but they could drink. They could drink.
Be like the not putting death in your truck. Now you're going 3 miles an hour.
I'd hate to see us go back to the punitive measures with our customers to entice them to pay their bill, and that would be a slow torture, would even be worse than a lockoff.
Why don't we agendize, what our options are for a future meeting
We've
and
had
approve
this
this,
discussion.
yeah, and approve this today. Because we know we have to do it.
Mhm.
But if we do ever bring this back in front of us, what I'd like to see is going back a little bit further and see what you talk about trends and it did trend up from last year. And we got that information, but if we could look at the last 10 years and not the dollar amount, but the accounts,
Sure.
which is going to tell us a better story of how many more people are doing this or didn't do it back then and when we did have lockoffs and we did have prior to 2020, we did have, and it is that is a number, it's putting our employees in a little bit of danger. I mean, it's walking onto properties where they know they haven't paid their bill. You got a CCWD truck parked out front. They're trying to knock on your door. They're messing with your meter. They're putting a notice on your door. There's that in addition to it's just a punitive thing. It's just it might make them pay their bill, maybe not. But if we do bring this back, I'd like to see what that trend is for at least 10 years and to see where it's at. I know it was affected during COVID and the laws, it affected us, might affected their habits or customers' habits, but this it's still has nothing to do with Teeter. Teeter is the way to solve the problem, but what is the problem? And if we can help solve the root of the problem, which I don't know if we can.
This agenda item is pretty clear
Yeah.
about,
And I think we
Approving-
have reported to the finance committee on this recently, and so we'll continue to bring it back and
Okay.
update the finance committee and then the full board when appropriate. But yeah, we're concerned about it. We're keeping a close eye on it. We're looking at options.
One more quick question. When this goes to the county and it goes on the tax rolls, what percentage would you roughly guess comes back to us out of this 791?
All but 2%.
But I guess there's a lot of people don't pay their tax bills either.
no, but then it gets sold and we get the revenue from.
Yes, that takes quite a while.
I know, but it's also been happening for.
Okay, so we get it really relatively quickly.
Let me let me go over the process. When, let's say we submit 800, I'm just doing it for
Yeah.
800,000, 16,000 is a charge to us. So when they come back, we get 2 distributions, generally, one in January and one in May. And it's roughly 50-50. It's a little bit more in the front one than the back. So we'll get about 400,000 less 8,000 in January, then we'll get the other 400,000 less 8,000 in May. Now, if the property owners don't pay the county as part of their tax bill, sometimes those pay the taxes, but not the delinquency. Then the county has the option to go back to them and start, and after a number of years, as far as default, then they can go to default and sell the property at auction. But there's a number of years in a process, a lengthy process that they have to go through to get to that point. But we will have our 800,000 by the end of May of 26.
Within a year, we've
Yeah,
get it all back except for that 2%.
Yeah.
The one thing I'd like to point out though is I've been around here long enough that I remember when the state was in about as bad shape as it is now, that the county was expecting to get tax monies back from the state, and the state just sent a message saying, sorry, we can't do that until sometime later. And it took quite a while for the money the money was in the mail, so to speak, but it didn't come as usual.
That was 2008, 2009. I
Yeah,
was here for that.
Yeah.
And they cut back our taxes.
Yeah.
It's fine.
so I should kind of factor that in a little bit too. Maybe we won't get it, we'll get it back eventually, but it takes 5 years to put the property on the default.
Or
Roll.
you're talking the county, okay,
County won't get it.
yes.
All right.
All right, we have a motion, so I think we had.
Do we have public comment? Is it public comment?
Francisco de la Cruz, thanks. There's been a lot of rattling around on next door about the current round of bills. There's been a lot of talk about, oh, we can't afford it, I have to sell, et cetera. And one of the items of discussion was just getting people to lose their property because they didn't pay it. Is there any way that we can report out what percentage of the people we refer over end up totally losing their house, or we care? Number one, if we don't care, then why go after it? But it seems to me that if we've got so many people running up a $16,000 bill, and we know about it now, we ought to be able to do something besides sending money. You owe us some money. You know, a lockbox, the extreme. I worked with a telephone company, not totally the same thing. We used to have a temporary disconnect, but it cost you more to connect up again because you prove it yourself unreliable. I don't know if that option is available to you. If you failed and you got referred over to the county, now you want to get back in good graces. Is there some policy that you could establish to say, hey, you know what? We had to spend extra amount of time and energy and money to collect what we finally ended up collecting. And now you want to set yourself up for another round. It's going to cost you extra. That's one thing. Now you also say that it only costs you 2% to refer it over, but that ignores the time value of money that you don't have to invest. So for the amount of money you could have had, you could have collected, et cetera, you can't because it's over to the county. So, it's not a clean math thing. And I would like the opportunity to consider payment plans. You have payment plan options. If somebody gets out of their bills are hitting $700 every 2 months. That's a chunk of change for some folks. Some folks only get $1,400, $1,500, $1,800 a month from Social Security, and for their water bill by itself to be $700. That's a big chunk. If they don't have any other stuff to rely on, it's going to get tough. And I know we're only in our second year of rate increases, so we've got 3 more coming, correct? So this is the third, so we got 2 more coming. And so folks are already going from 191 to 500 some odd being delinquent. I would encourage a closer eye so it doesn't get to 1,500, 1,800, and all of a sudden, most of the stuff is referred over because people just can't afford it.
And it was raised 191 between last year and this year.
Yeah, 191 to 500.
No, it grew 191 from what it was, from 500, what it was last year, to 700 and something, what it is this year.
So about a 40% increase.
Yeah, whatever 91 is. Oh, no, just your, this,
My numbers are wrong.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, no, your point is still.
Thank you.
All right, anything else?
I have nothing.
Please call the roll.
Director Thomas,
Yes.
Director Ratterman,
Yes.
Director Robertson,
Yes.
President Davidson.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President, members
Thank
of
you.
the board.
Okay, we're gonna move on to reports, customer service, update. Kelly?
Welcome back.
Good to see you all. President Davidson, directors of the board. I am Kelly Richards, Business Services Manager for CCWD. You have to excuse me, I'm having a day-to-day health life, so it's been a while since I've provided an update to the board for customer service. And we've had a lot going on in the department over the last several months. Mainly, we've had some personnel changes. And so as some of you are aware, over the past several years, we've been in a little bit of a state of flux as far as our staffing is concerned, where we had some full-time, part-time. We were able to get the part-time position as a full-time position. And then we've been seeking the right staff in customer service. And I am happy to report that our department is full and maintaining at this point. So we do have Corinne, Robin, and Riley as our customer service team. And then obviously I'll stick my head in there every now and then, but they handle the bulk of the day-to-day. So I'm happy to have all of them in there and performing all of our operational duties. Riley is our newest customer service representative. She is not here today. I would have liked to have brought her in and had you all meet her, and I will do that at the next board meeting. So some of the things that we've been looking at trending over the past couple of years in regards to customer service and making sure that we are not only meeting industry benchmark, but also customer expectation is our inbound calls and percentage of response, how quickly we respond to our customers versus, them say leaving a voicemail and having us call them back. So what I'm displaying here for everybody is just the trend of the quantity of calls that we receive on a monthly basis into customer service. So I've compared 2025 year to date against last year, calendar year, and then calendar year 2023. So as you can see, we do have quite a bit of fluctuation as it comes with our phone calls, but our more populated months where we have a lot more customer interaction, not only through phone calls, but emails, walk-ins, and then service requests are going to be through our summer months. So I just wanted to display that here. Here's our email trend. We've had a lot more people reaching out to us via email. A lot of this is spurred through interaction on the customer portal as well. So not only are customers able to go onto our website and send customer service an email if they would like to inquire to receive information from us or service from us, but through the customer portal, customers are able to send us messages as well. So this includes not only messages through the portal, but direct emails. And then again, through the summertime, we have seen a lot of occupant changes, a lot of homes being sold and bought in our service area. And so we've seen a big influx in email correspondences from escrow companies, title companies, things of that nature, real estate agents, people who are reaching out and seeking information about properties here in our service area. Work orders. I'm happy to say that our work orders have been pretty steady. Obviously, they go up during the summertime as well. A majority of our summertime service orders are related to those occupant changes. We have to update our system. But then the bulk of the others are leak checks. And that can be anywhere in our service area. We do get quite a few down in the Valley Springs area. But a lot of that is us mobilizing or notifying our field staff that we received concern or an inquiry from a customer who is looking to have us investigate a leak, typically at or near the meter or in the roadway. This is one that I'm particularly proud of. And again, it kind of correlates with our call volume. So as I've stated, we have been in a little bit of staffing flux over the past couple of years. But I'm happy to say that we're maintaining an upward trend as far as our percentage of calls that are answered within the first attempt. So that means that within the first 5 rings to our phone system, we are answering that call and engaging with the customer. And from an industry standard, we are well above industry standard in regards to our initial engagement with customers over the phone. So I'm happy to report on that.
That's the one I'm happiest about.
Yes. So another Another couple big items that I continuously report out on are our customer assistance program and our online portal engagement. And so one of the more recent updates that I provided, I believe it was several months ago, was in regards to our customer assistance program. We participate in a re-enrollment for that annually. We just concluded the re-enrollment for that program recently, and I'm happy to say that our numbers, our current enrollment is extremely high for this time of year. Normally, when we go through the process of sending out notifications to existing customer assistance program customers, we end up having to unfortunately remove quite a few of them because we don't receive correspondence back that they would like to re-enroll for the upcoming year. We received an astounding amount of returning customers this year. So I'm very, very happy about that. These numbers that we have right now, current enrollment at 214 water customers and 131 wastewater customers, is where we were at the tail end of last fiscal year. Normally, it takes us a while to build up to these numbers throughout the year. And we are already almost full in the water side, and we still have a little bit of wiggle room there on the wastewater side, but we are absolutely still engaging customers. This program is open for anybody to apply as long as they are customers of the CARE program through PG&E. And we welcome customers to just give us a call or engage with us online, and we're happy to send that documentation over to them so they can apply. As far as our customer portal is concerned, our current membership has gone over 10,000, which is phenomenal. I regularly engage with other agencies, not only locally, but just around Northern California. And several agencies, even ones that I came from in the Bay Area, are asking us, how did we get this level of engagement on our customer portal? Because they're not seeing the same numbers. And I think a lot of that has to do with our elevated customer interaction through Kelly Gerkensmeyer. And I think just our constant, promotion of this portal with the customers on the bill and when they call us and they engage with the customer service rep. So when we break it down and we're looking at current active memberships that are linked to a utility billing account, we've got over 9,800. 9,200 of those are unique, meaning it's a singular, there's at least one online customer portal account per utility account. So we might have several for one account. Maybe a tenant has one, a landlord has one. Could be a business account where maybe several people at that business need access, so they each have a portal account for the singular commercial account. But quite a few unique memberships. Our total active UB accounts are a little over 13,900, which gives us a percentage of active accounts on the portal at 66%. Current industry standard is at about 58% for portals, so we are trending above that industry standard. So some of the things that customer service has been engaging in, and some of these are a follow-up to my previous update. Customer service and Tyler Technologies, who facilitate our customer portal and our billing software, ERP software. We engaged with them in moving forward in a business process review for the utility billing side. And we've been talking about this with them since last year. We were able to get something on the calendar with them for this year. And really the purpose of the analysis was to understand our current processes, discuss how the ERP Pro or Encode system that we're using is currently being used, and then also identify where things can be optimized to increase the benefits for us and our customers. We went through a current process assessment. We took a deep dive into how we're doing things on the UB side. And then there was a series of recommendations that were made. And then the second part that we're going to embark on will consist of analysis and training sessions associated with those recommendations so that we can optimize the system. So we're embarking on the second part of that right now. And I'm happy to say that we have some very good folks from Tyler that we're working with in order to get the EV system optimized and working efficiently. As Jeff Meyer presented today, customer service does support finance in the utility billing delinquencies going to the county tax roll. Our staff is responsible for generating those letters and sending them out, and then obviously working with the customers and facilitating those payments towards the account. We have had an opportunity to have some of our newer customer service staff head out into the field for ride-alongs and facility tours with our operations staff. So I would really like to thank our Jenny Lynn distribution crew for scheduling some time for our two newest customer service reps to head out with them and learn a little bit more about what they do in their area and some of the unique things that they face on a daily basis. I'm pleased to say that the next phase of this will be kind of a sewer system 101. Our sewer supervisor is going to be heading into the office here within the next couple of weeks to really provide some crucial information to our customer service reps on the sewer side. And obviously this just helps our reps help our customers better and understand operationally what it is that our guys out in the field face on a daily basis. We have reinstated our past due notices and past due fees as of last month. This is something that I will be reporting regularly on to the Finance Committee. And once we have a little bit more data as far as the efficacy of reinstating this part of the process, I can bring that information back to the full board and we can have a conversation about what the rest of the delinquency process looks like at that point, if we want to make any changes or, review the policy itself. And then we are still continuing with our annual customer service forms update, which will update not only the forms that we use in-house, but anything that we share externally with the customer.
Board have any questions?
Oh, thank you very much. Good information. I think you caught up on stuff every once in a while.
Thank you, Kelly.
Kelly, I have a couple of questions here. When you and I spoke the other day about the current arrangement on lockbox on checks that people send in, it's come to my attention that there may be a surprising amount of instances where somebody will send a check on the last possible day and it goes to Sacramento. It might arrive on a Friday, and instead of being looked at by that secondary processor, it results in heartburn for you and for the customers and everything. So, I mean, we can't talk about it too much today, but I would like to see if the board would be warm to the idea of bringing that process back in-house here. But the wouldn't have a Sacramento address on where to send the checks. That causes confusion among customers. So
Bring it up at future agenda.
yeah,
Should we bring that to Finance Committee first or just bring it back to the full board?
I think it needs to happen fast. Be implemented faster than could be accomplished by going to the Finance Committee first and then coming to the board for a recommendation. It's a fairly straightforward decision, I think. That would be my recommendation, is bring it back to the board. What do you think, Jeff?
Fine by me. Yeah. Okay. Leave it up to our general member.
Yeah, I think just to set expectations fast when it comes to these things, we have to be cautious that it doesn't create more confusion or complication, and it can be implemented in a way that, doesn't create more disturbance. So we would have to talk about what exactly it would take to make that transition. But we could bring a discussion item back to the board and talk through those items or talk through those issues. Absolutely.
Maybe as a result of that discussion, we'll just leave it leave it alone. I don't, I doubt it, but I'd like to see it come back here.
Sounds good.
And we keep talking about Tyler. How about Springbrook? When are we gonna cut the ties with them? Anytime soon?
We cut ties with Springbrook.
Really?
Correct. We do not have a contract with Springbrook anymore. We are fully engaged with Tyler at this point. And the only thing that we have engagement wise with Springbrook at this time, because the data, we are able to access it on our server. The server is in-house. If for any reason we have to reach out to them for assistance with maintaining that particular side of the server, we get charged an hourly rate for engagement with them, but we are not contractually tied to them any longer.
Why didn't we have a big celebration with,
Oh.
with balloons and stuff? So,
A lot of other things going on too.
okay. Thank you very much, Kelly.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna take a 5-minute break here.
I think, did we have a comment?
Oh, do you have a comment?
I know it's an old issue. Probably bothers you not to hear it again, but it's great to hear that there are a lot of folks on the portal. I don't know what kind of statistics you guys track on what kind of engagement there is. I like to know things like that, so I've engaged to tell the customer portal to text me anytime I exceed 15 gallons per day of usage or 400 gallons per month of usage. My texts ought to be crazy. They're not. So once again, what do I need to do to make use of the tool you say is available to me? If I've tried everything I know how to do my end and it doesn't work, I mean, it doesn't work. For me. How do I get it fixed? Thanks.
Good question.
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break. Okay, I think we're on the general manager's report.
Okay, glad we took that little break because it gave me an opportunity to run back to my office and grab the thing that I forgot, which is the Aqua newsletter. They don't always, or often or maybe ever bring to the CCWD board meetings. But CCWD is on the cover of this one. This is a newsletter that goes to almost every water agency in the state and probably a whole lot of engineering firms and other vendors and folks that are affiliated with the water agency. And really Kelly and Damon and Pat were on the cover here, and others that were involved in this effort deserve all the credit. I had very little to do with this, but I just wanted to acknowledge, the work that Damon has done to position himself as really a statewide leader on advocating for water interests at CARB and how the Clean Fleets rule is being implemented. He's the vice chair of the Aqua Energy Committee now, I think largely because of that. And he's just really taken a leading role in that advocacy effort to the point where this is, I don't know what, 10 senior staff from CARB spent the day in Calvert County with our staff. Kelly was really involved with this, touring different facilities and trying to give CARB staff an understanding of the difficulties of implementing the Clean Fleets program for a rural, mountain county water agency, the realities of this. And just a fantastic opportunity, advocacy opportunity, and really just highlights the work that the CCWD team has been doing on this effort. So here we are, front page of the Aqua newsletter.
I was on a call last week. And this subject came up, and EID is attempting the exact same thing with CARB, and Justin at Caparusa at Mountain County is attempting to do something a little bit broader, not district specific, but also using the same model that CCWD.
Yeah,
Proud of my of the team back here when everyone is trying to emulate what you're doing.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, the team did a great job on it, and yeah, other agencies are now trying to replicate this and get their message through the CARB as well. So
It was all the same message, but it's good to be the leader going in something.
so that was first thing. Sorry to shift quickly to bad news, but our CPPA Calvert's Public Power Authority rate is going up significantly. We knew this was coming for probably the last 6 months, but the board, we took final action on that last month, and so it's a pretty significant rate increase, but it follows a pretty significant rate decrease last year, and we're almost back up to where we were before. The volatility in that rate has a lot to do with the formula that PG&E is using for the distribution charges, and not so much in the WAPA side of things, but it is a bit of a black box into how all of that is calculated. But there's going to be a significant increase this year. We had a meeting.
Excuse me, Michael, on that subject, does that warrant taking a renewed look at solar?
No, we're still not back up to where we were before at the peak a couple of years ago, and even back then solar had been penciled for us. We'll always look at the opportunity, and we currently have a consultant looking at where we might need charging stations if we were to implement or if we have to implement Clean Fleets, and what that might look like, and what the impact to the grid is, and the availability of power from the grid. And that has led to a lot of kind of interesting discussions about the role of CPPA potentially evolving as the energy landscape evolves. But at this point, if we get to a point where it's more competitive, it's still a lot less than the PG&E commercial. And that's, so the incentives for solar are decreasing. We're still way less than the PG&E commercial rate. So I don't think big solar investment makes sense for us, but anywhere we can trim power consumption, and we shift to more efficient pumps, VFDs, other energy savings efforts, because it's all still a cost saving. Where it makes sense, we are implementing that stuff, but probably doesn't pencil for us to make some investments.
On the same subject or similar subject, is it on hydro and pen stocks? Is that getting closer to being able to pencil out?
Pen stocks.
For example, McKay's, the beaver. Small hydro.
Yeah, much different, significantly different issue there.
Okay, maybe not McKay's, but other pen stocks that actually have grids near them.
So other small hydro potential. Yeah, so there might be.
It's not feasible for our operation.
Right. So
It could be feasible for income, but not for operation.
if there are, as new technology comes out from in pipe, within a distribution system, like a transmission main, that kind of thing might, start to make sense eventually, as that technology evolves, but at this point, we haven't invested in. Just a real quick, update on, the golden mussel situation continues to evolve. We spent, with a good meeting with the Army Corps folks at New Hogan yesterday. The Army Corps has, in their ranking of highest risk reservoirs of Army Corps facilities, New Hogan is number one. And there's a lot of data showing boats going from the Delta to New Hogan. And that is troubling for them. They have, so we were talking with them about what their prevention program is, what we can do to help support them. And really good line of communication there between us and the folks at the Corps, and we provided them with some helpful information, and they provided us with some helpful information. So looking to potentially increase, they got funding for a decontamination unit, hot water decontamination unit, because when they turn people away from the launch ramp, right, currently they just say you can't launch. If they have a decontamination unit on site, they would say, okay, you got to go back through that unit. The person who will do that, they can still launch that. They don't have to just send it home. But staffing is the biggest issue between being able to conduct inspections and then now having to staff that unit. That's one of the discussions, is how often it can be utilized and how effective it can be. It's obviously high concern for us. We're drawing water right out of the base of that dam, basically. So we're continuing to talk to them about that prevention effort and learn what we can from them and apply it to other reservoirs as well. But it is a huge concern.
What are we inspecting?
We're not currently, so we have a self-certification process at Spicer.
No, I'm talking about when it comes to our facilities.
Oh, gotcha. So we've tested for, we've done water quality sampling to look for, the right, whether we have high risk conditions in our water supplies, which we do. But in terms of the actual sampling for the golden mussel, we're not doing any of that testing. We know the Corps is or has in New Hogan, and they also have deployed units that attract the golden mussel. So if it's gonna exist in New Hogan, they want to know about it right away. So they deploy these units where they attract it, so they'd be the first to know about it, and they haven't detected it yet. But it's
Really kind of dropped off the media radar.
Unless you've read the Los Angeles Times, which had a big article on just a couple of days ago, how Tahoe's charging, it's $165 a boat, and they use 140-degree water to cleanse it, and they've only found one mussel, but they have found one mussel. And so that's for something like Hogan, where we've already seen the water's warmer and It's pretty scary, but that, if you could get anywhere near that kind of charge to get your boat inspected, that can certainly pay for staff to do it. I mean,
Yeah, so we're looking at different options for staffing with the core. Um, the sheriff's office into that discussion as well as they have a role down there. But it is going to continue to be a huge issue for agencies. DWR, number one among the agencies that are concerned about this. It's been found in their infrastructure non-state water project. It's down in Bakersfield.
But they haven't written any recommendations yet, have they?
They haven't, we have still the lack of guidance from any of the regulatory agencies, state or federal, which makes it challenging. So we're still waiting for comments. Well, we got comments back from Fish and Wildlife on the mussel mitigation program through Spicer. Still working on updates to that plan to address those comments, but it's hard to do those things in the absence of clear regulatory guidance.
Yeah.
There ongoing discussion we've talked about a few times of an intertie between UPUD and CCWD distribution systems. We felt like it was a very strong candidate for FEMA grant funding. FEMA grant funding is changing significantly and may not be available. So we're still pursuing that option, but looking at other options and maybe coming back to the engineering committee with a more detailed discussion of CCWD for that project. There's some benefit for CCWD in addition to being emergency backup water supply for UPV. So I would anticipate a deeper dive into that at the next engineering committee meeting. There's a lot of discussion this legislative session about wildfire liability for water agencies, especially after the LA fires in January. It's a really sensitive topic on one hand, but very troubling with troubling implications for water agencies. Some of the bills that are pending right now, the additional requirements that would be put on water agencies may not necessarily be in the public's best interest. So, looking for shifting liability to water agencies for essentially wildfires, not just structured fires, is a huge concern. So I'm involved in a work group on that issue through Aqua to try to provide a defense against the bills that are pending right now, but also potentially propose legislation next year that would be Aqua sponsored to take a more reasonable approach to that issue. But that's been a significant issue for water agencies for a long time, and it's now becoming a very hot topic. Utica GM position is vacant, and their board decided last week to start recruiting. So that I don't know if they've actually sent the recruitment out, but they are recruiting for that position now. And Joel has moved on to DWR, I think, as everybody knows, and wishing the best of luck there. And it's great to have somebody from Calaveras County in that position that he's in, and hopefully he can be a resource for us there. And then lastly are the water rights extensions that we filed, and Andrew gave a presentation on that a couple of board meetings ago. The comment period on that has closed. We did get a couple of comments from downstream agencies that we anticipated. So we're working with water board staff and responding to those comments. This is the extensions for the power rights for the Northport project. So really important for us. And so we probably bring a discussion back to the board and the comments and responses before we respond. And that's all I have for now.
All right. Any questions from the gentleman?
yeah, it's probably too soon, but no update on our Copperopolis corporate person who brought the issue before the board about collection on a huge collection they want.
No, it's
All right.
Anything to report about Remy Howard?
Okay. All right, we'll move on to board reports, information items, speaker agenda. Jeffrey?
Yes, from staff, I received a copy of a letter sent to CCWD directed to the directors from a person in my district, District 3 in Arnold, who's on a $1,400 a month kind of pension and was complaining, even though she gets the $50 discount, that they're having to bill for $380. I'm working with Kelly on a response. I also spoke to Kelly of customer service this afternoon, and I'd like to add to the finance committee agenda a review of our policy, because there may be reasons to give a very limited number of people a greater break now that our rates are going up and things are.
You're referring to the CAP policy, the customer assistance program?
Yes.
Scott?
Mountain Counties has a reception next week in Sutter Creek on Thursday. All are welcome and encouraged to attend. Actually, I had cornered one of our Mountain Counties members who plays the saxophone in the band, and so he's going to bring one of his bandmates, guitarist. They both sing. So we got live entertainment in Sutter Creek at a winery. And again, next Thursday,
Who is that? Sorry, one of the Mountain Counties members?
From Chris Stabenfeld.
Oh,
Chris from the
E4?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Damon was supposed to play with him. That was the gig.
Yeah.
It was Damon and
Chris,
but
okay.
Damon's going to be in Alaska. His band is going to be in Alaska,
He's there right now at
And
the
unable-
Famine Festival.
unable to come back. But I did tell,
He's back by next Thursday.
he won't. No, he should. Well, he says he won't. He won't, but he ain't. This is right in his hometown. I mean, he's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
avoid
Oh,
going.
that'll be fun.
Yeah.
What winery?
No, I
Oh, don't have to.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. in a minute. Also,
When you say it's a reception, is there a general meeting?
the meeting is always the next day. Mountain County does 4 of these. You guys attended one in Tuolumne County. They're 2 months apart. And there's a reception in the evening on Thursday and a meeting the following morning. Our meeting is the following morning at 9 o'clock. It's the same thing. Just we do 4 receptions a year, and that's where it's going to be at AMM. We've done in Murphy as well. When the board members kind of circulates around the board members. We have it in Yuba County and Marysville this year, Tuolumne, Sutter Creek, and I think we got one more coming up later on in the year in November.
But this one's at Sutter Creek.
Yeah.
I
Sutter
believe
Creek.
that Director Thomas is wondering why he wasn't to perform.
Oh,
Yeah, that's.
Oh, he doesn't need to be invited.
he's a mic hog. If he shows up, he'll find a way to get in front of that microphone somehow.
All right, Director Adam.
Yeah, that's it. No, we do have a real estate, our final real estate committee, ad hoc. Tomorrow. Is that right, tomorrow? And the JPIA now owns a new building, we're gonna start renovating just down the road from its current. 30,000 square feet. Current building's half that size.
Where's your office?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a corner office on the second floor.
Director Thomas, do you have anything?
Well, nobody has mentioned anything about the famous NCPA barbecue. Is good time was had by all. Good stuff.
Okay, I wanted to mention something about, I ended up at that NCPA dinner, and I sat next to a gentleman named Raj, who's a city council member from Santa Clara, and he and another guy here from can't think of that city that he was from, even the utilities. But anyway, the question got asking how many megawatts are you using? And so I asked Raj how many megawatts they're using in Santa Clara. He told me 850. He said they need 1,250. There's 60 data centers in Santa Clara, Trenton. And he said their power is so much cheaper than PG&E. That's why all the data centers want to locate there. And I asked him, well, what are your other sources? And he said, well, we just got a new one online. We're buying wind power from Mexico. Pretty substantial chunk.
Wow.
But I just bring that up so he thinks about, a sole source purchaser. I mean, they're out there, and I don't know if you guys saw this, where I believe Google just spent like $1 trillion on hydro on the East Coast for the very same thing. So it's just the energy market is gonna blow off. And the one thing that is reliable is hydro, and so I just made me very optimistic about the future of our facility. And I enjoyed meeting with everybody, and everybody there was just like, man, we appreciate the partnership, and that seemed to be, the sentiment from everybody there, which was great. But that energy market is really going to be something that's going to just take off. Anyway, that's just a little extra info. Other than that, I don't have anything. Okay, you had a future agenda item, but you already made that clear.
Mhm.
Okay, so our next board meeting is 13th and 27th. Okay,
13th and the 27th of all.
I got you. Okay, we're gonna adjourn into closed session.
Wait, on that, I won't be able to be here on the 27th of August, but I may be able to, I'll be on, at a conference, so I might be able to call in. That's it. Thanks.
Okay, we're gonna adjourn to closed
Public
session.
comment on directors.
Pardon?
Public comment on GM director.
Is there any public comment? Okay, now we will try to adjourn into closed session. Conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure and government code 549576, agency negotiation, general manager, Michael Minkler, HR manager, Stacy Lawler. Is there any public comment on closed session? Okay, seeing none, we'll adjourn to closed session.